I just wanted to jump on here really quick and do kind of an update with my Pan That Palette challenge thing. Anyone who watched my first update after I've been using the e.l.f. palette for about a month saw that it was just not a very good quality palette. I had a lot of issues with it in terms of pigmentation. Like, a lot of the neutral shadows were actually pretty good, but a lot of the darker ones or the color shadows, like the blues and the purples, they just didn't show up very well. They were difficult to work with, so they blended away. So a lot of people just said to swap out the palette, and I had a couple of different ideas, and I wanted to kind of do a quick update on what I'm doing there because I wanted to do this as soon as possible because I'm kind of switching gears on this. So sorry about the lighting. This light behind me is, I usually put it behind the camera over there to light me up, but I'm leaving the house right now, so I didn't want to go through all of the hassle of setting that up for what should only be about 5 minutes videos here. But so this is the palette here, the e.l.f. palette. It doesn't have a name. I broke the lid. I dropped this, so the lid broke. Two of the shadows shattered again. I tried someone's recommendation. I can't remember what her name is right now. I think it was Jen W. But I tried the recommendation of digging out the ones I didn't like and marking an X over it. So that's why there's these pans. I didn't use them up. I just dug them out. And then I tried depotting a couple. So I did a quick little video when I was doing this about what happened when I was trying to depot them, so I'll insert that here.
So I tried to depot a few of these eyeshadows, as you can see in these three missing here. I went through this entire palette and marked off the shades I don't like and tried to move some of the shades I do like into my Z palette. And let me show you what happened. So this is the three I tried to get out of the palette. So you can see that they didn't really survive the journey. So these pans are aluminum. I thought they were a stiffer metal, but they are not. They're just aluminum. So I don't know if you can tell, this is kind of warped, and there's a crack down the center there. So this was a full, almost full, barely touched eyeshadow, and it's now cracked and broken. This is the one that I had showed last time where I thought I was going to hit pan on, and I actually did hit pan before I tried to depot it. So do you see that little white spot in the center? That's where I hit pan. And then I tried to depot it into my Z palette here, and it just shattered kind of the rest of it. So this is all that's left. And then this is another one. I tried to use tweezers instead of the little nail file I was using to pry them out. It's still bent. It's still cracked. And what's more, you know, like I said, these are aluminum. They're not magnetic. I tried to use some of the adhesive. So you can see over here that there's adhesive on the bottom to keep it in the plastic. I tried to use that adhesive on the bottom of this to keep it in the Z palette, and it just doesn't really work all that well. So here, I'm kind of nervous to lift that up. It's going to fall, and it's going to break, and it's going to shatter into all of my other eyeshadows here that actually are magnetic and are sticking to the magnet here. And what's more, as I was trying to place things into my Z palette, this happened. So do you see this here? I mean, this Z palette's not that old, it's not that heavily used, and it just split. So I mean, I can glue that back together, that's not too big of an issue, but I'm just thinking that this palette is just not worth the effort anymore. So I think that I'm gonna pick something else. I can't get that out. So I think that I'm going to pick something else to work on, and this my finished product here. Barely touched. You can see all the X's are the ones that I marked off. The shades I didn't like, they didn't have a whole lot of pigment to them. The ones without X's I actually did really like, especially a lot of these neutral colors here. But I think I'm just gonna give up on this, and it's so much of a fight to get it to work, and it's so big. To carry it around is difficult. I dropped it a second time, so there's this this shadow shattered even more than it had before. This one did as well, and so that's not pan that I used up, that's just, it broke. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna pass on this. I mean, like I said, I didn't spend any money on it. It's cheap. I think you could have picked this up for like $10 or $15 the way when it was actually selling. I can't find anything like it on the website right now, but I don't think it's terribly worth it. So I think I'm just gonna move on. So that did not go very well. So after that happened, I just kind of gave up. I was trying to take out like a lot of these neutral colors up here I actually really like, but I was trying to take them out. It did not work. So I just decided, you know what, it's not worth it. It's too big. It's kind of falling apart now. It's going to be very difficult to move back and forth to different places with. So I'm just going to get rid of this and I'm going to move on to something else. So I already picked another palette. So I picked two things. I picked the Hard Candy, Smoky Eyes. This one, I just saw this in Walmart today, and it doesn't have the same packaging as this. It still has the tin, but it's called like Look Pro Smoky Eyes or something. So it doesn't say, I've had this for a couple of years, but it just says Smoky Eyes there. This is an NT because I decided to also work on my Tarina Tarantino shadows, which are in my Z palette, and I thought that the easiest thing to do would be to depot shadows out of here into my Tarina Tarantino palette, or my Z palette with my Tarantino eyeshadows. So that ended up being a disaster as well. So this is what my Z palette looks like right now. This is the shadows from the Smoky Eye, and they have this plastic, so they're in this plastic pan type thing when they were in the tin. So I thought that would be really easy to depot. I tried to pull the shadows out of it, and I want to show you kind of what happened here. So this is a kind of a lighter purple color, this is a black color, this is a darker brown color. All of these looked basically untouched when I started this, so yesterday morning when I tried to do this. And in trying to take these three shadows out, they just shattered. So this one shattered completely. This was full, it is not full anymore. This one is about halfway gone. Can you kind of tell? Half of it fell out. This one cracked, and I managed to I just poured some alcohol in it to repress it, so it's still got some nice pigmentation to it. This one does as well, but I didn't repress that one, so, but these ones are a better quality than the e.l.f. shadows are. They're still not like Urban Decay level, but they do work better than the e.l.f. shadows. And then the Tarina Tarantino ones, are all of these round pots here. These ones are pretty decent as well. I've got a black here. This pink one here, I don't know if you can tell, but I've got quite a bit of dip in it. I don't have any dip in any of the other ones. This one I dug half of my brush into, so that's what that groove is there. And then these are the three e.l.f. ones that I showed you in the short video that I did. What I ended up doing with the hard candy was just cutting around the plastic. So I cut all of this off, and
stuck the Z Palette stickies onto the bottom of this and just stuck it in there so it stays, except for that one that's almost gone, because I pulled it out of the plastic. It doesn't want to stick anymore, so that's what just fell out. So, but this is a bit more portable than taking two separate things. It's pretty versatile in terms of, like, I could do a smoky eye. I used them both to do my eye look today, which I'm pretty pleased with. Like I said, they're not as good as Urban Decay shadows, but they're still pretty decent for what they are. I believe this was like $10, $12. I didn't find a price on it when I looked today, but it's not too expensive. And then the Tarina Tarantino ones came in a jewelry box set that they had this foam palette up at the top, and it came with a mascara, a lip gloss, and a face primer, and then a jewelry box underneath it, which is sitting over on my dresser over there. But so I just depotted those into this, and I've had these for a couple of years. I've had this for a couple of years, and then the smoky palette I've had as well for, I think, about 2 years now. And then this is just an Ofra shadow. I used to have a blush in here, but it didn't fit, and I'm not using the blush because I'm working on panning another blush right now. So I just pulled it out and stuck it in a drawer where it will be safe and not shatter to make room for this palette here. So this is where I'm at right now. And I'll start using this now. I have started using this today, and I'll do an update around the beginning of March. It's currently February 4th, so that's when I'm starting to use this, and I'll do an update sometime around March, probably about mid-March. I don't know that I'll be able to do first of the month with this anymore, but so this has been an ordeal. So let me know what you think. If you want to stick around, you can, and just, I don't know, just do whatever you want. Bye.